Hi everybody! So today I'm going to show you to make this little Easter egg bunny that's designed by Jess Davies, also known as CraftLover17 on Instagram. I'm going to be making mine exactly like this today, and it's the same colors that Jess used for hers. Choose the colors that you would like. It could be a multicolored, it could be white, brown, gray, whatever you'd prefer. If you did want to use the skin color, you could extend the shirt into the arms, same color, and into the legs. I'm going to be using the skin color, blue, purple, two 12mm safety eyes. I'm going to use 18 small E-beads, which are optional. They're just right inside here of the frill. You're going to need your string to thread, and you're going to need a couple of stitch markers. So I'm going to get started, and I do hope you enjoy. Now, the first thing that we need to do is prep our little beads. And this is optional. You do not have to add this part. I have the beads and just use the beads. I like the beads. I always have to add beads. So where they're going to be going, these are small, tiny little E-beads. And they are going to be going on a frill around here on every other stitch. So we need 18 beads. Again, optional. What I'm going to do is take my string that's for beaded bracelets, and I'm going to put it through the rubber band and grab the other end. So two ends are together, and slide your bead through both of those ends and bring it down to the middle of the band. So you can kind of just pause the video and have that ready. Round one of the arm, and I'm going to show you how to do one, and you're going to pause the video and make yourself another. I'm going to do six single crochets in the magic ring. I apologize. I'm going to take my first band, wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times, and then pull 6 bands through. One at a time. So reaching in, grabbing your first, bring it through, end on your hook, and top loop over. Bring it to the side, back in for your second, bring through, end on your hook, and now bring the top 2 loops over. And you want to just continue like that. Top 2 loops over and bring it to the side. You want to attach your stitch marker. I like to remove off the loom first and move my bands around. With these kind of stitch markers, I have a hard time attaching them while it's on the loom. And you're going to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook, and you should have 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For rounds 2, 3, and 4, you're just going to do 6 single crochets, 1 band in each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. When you're done, we're going to add a little sewing band to the center stitches. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm just going to do 6 single crochets, 1 band in each chain for round 2. I don't think I'll be using the stitch marker. My bands are organized and it's such a small little round. So just 1 band until you get to the stitch marker. So you can remove your stitch marker and then add it to the band that's around your hook and continue with round 3. Don't start where it's getting pulled. It's tiny. Take your time. You can see that I'm holding this part of the arm. I find that a little bit easier. I'm pretty sure that's a wrong color pink. And then round 4, 6 single crochets again, last band, slip knot. Bring it through all the loops that are on your hook, grab the end and tie off. Don't pull too hard because you need this as your sewing band. You want to fold it in half now. Take a single band, put your slip knot to the side here, and don't go through the 2 stitches that are on either side. You want to go through the 2 chains right in the center and do a slip knot with this band. And don't pull too hard. You just want to kind of secure it. So you can pause the video and make yourself another. Now we're going to make the legs, and I'm going to show you to do one, and then you're going to pause the video to make yourself another. We're going to start off with 6 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take my first and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And pull 6 bands through, one at a time. I'm going to take my first, end on my hook, and top loop over. First stitches are always different when you're starting off. Top 2 loops over and bring it to the side. Back in, top 2 loops over, and pull 3 more bands through. I'm going to remove off the loom and move my bands around. You should have 6 stitches. I'm going to attach your stitch marker to the loop that's around your hook. For round 2, we're going to increase to 9 stitches. So we're going to do a single crochet followed by an increase, single crochet followed by an increase, and you're going to repeat this 3 times. So you'll have 9 stitches when you're done using 9 bands. So you're going to go in your first stitch with a single crochet. Chain 2 is your increase, 2 bands in that 1 chain. Back in, and repeat 1, 2. The next chain, back in, and repeat 1 more time. Oops, my band came out, so I'm just going to redo that one. My stitch marker is in the way. So you have 9 stitches, and remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you're going to do 9 single crochets, and your last band is going to be a slip knot to tie it closed. So just tie it off. What I'm going to do is round 3 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. I will return for the last band to do a slip knot with you. So I'm going to go in the first chain, 1 band in each. Each pile I have 9 bands, so at the end of each round you should have 9 stitches. 1 band, single crochet until you get to the stitch marker. At any point in time, you can change the color. You don't have to use the same body color. You can give it a little pair of pants if you wish, like the legs. So here's the body. You can kind of continue with a purple if you wish, or whatever color you choose for the body. So you can remove your stitch marker, add it to the band. You want to pause the video, continue, and come back to me when you're done. So I'm just going to do the slip knot with you, and then we're going to attach 2 sewing bands. So I'm going to go in my last chain, grab the band, and bring it through all the loops to tie it off. I'm going to remove the stitch marker. I'm not going to stuff this little area of the leg. I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to bring my slip knot to the side. And I'm not going to go through the stitches that are right beside the slip knot. I'm going to go through the next ones. I'm thinking that only 2 bands are needed at this time. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to apologize ahead if I make you add or ask you to add another band. So I just went through the chains right at the end here to make it even with this one at the other end. Just kind of bringing it to the side. So you can pause the video and make yourself another. For round 1 of the actual egg color, the bunny color, what I'm going to do is 6 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom, and I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're just going to pull your 6 bands through one at a time. Bringing your first one through, end on your hook, and top loop over. Bring it to the side and continue back in. Second band through, end on your hook, and top 2 loops over. Make sure you're bringing it to the side and go back in again. Band through, end on your hook, and top 2 loops over. And you can continue that 3 more times. Oops. You can remove off the loom. Move your bands around so that they're nice and even, and attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. You should have 6 stitches. For round 2, we're going to increase on each chain around. So you're adding 2 bands to each chain. So basically you're just doing 2 single crochets in 1 chain, and that will be your increase. You're going to repeat this 6 times until you get to your stitch marker. So going in the first chain, you're going to bring your bands through one at a time. Back in for the second band. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 12 stitches. The next chain with 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. And repeat all the way till you get to the stitch marker. That looks like a lighter shade pink. Hold on 1 second. I have to be really careful. I can't see the difference between these colors anymore. So again, you should have 12 stitches, and remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to increase to 18 stitches. So all we're going to do is a single crochet followed by an increase, single crochet followed by an increase. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way to your stitch marker, and you're repeating 6 times. So I'm just going to go on my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and do a single crochet, 1 band. Chain 2 is your increase, so you're adding the 2 bands one at a time. The pattern is fairly straightforward, very, very easy. So we're just going to be increasing and decreasing, repetitive. Again, 1, 2. Next stitch with 2. Continue following the layout until you get to your stitch marker. And the last stitch with 2. Back in, and you're going to have 18 stitches because you used 18 bands. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the loop that's around your hook. I have rounds 4 and rounds 5 here. Rounds 4, we're just going to increase on every 3rd stitch. So the pattern is single crochet, followed by an increase. You're going to do single crochet, followed by an increase. So every 3rd stitch, you're adding 2 bands one at a time. So you're going to do 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. You're repeating this 6 times, and at the end of round 4, you're going to have 24 stitches. So just continue until you get to the stitch marker. For round 5, we're going to do 24 single crochets. So I have 24 bands in this pile. I'm going to start with round 4, and then you're going to pause the video and continue. So don't go where it's getting pulled always in your first chain. I'm going to do my single crochet, and I'm just following the layout. Single crochet. My 3rd stitch is the increase, 2 bands in that 1 chain. And repeat, 1, 1, 2. Follow the layout until you get to the stitch marker. So you have 24 stitches. You can remove your stitch marker, and you're going to do round 5. So you want to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. 24 single crochets. For round 6, we're going to do 3 single crochets followed by an increase, 3 single crochets followed by an increase, and you're going to repeat this 6 times. So at the end of round 6, you're going to have 30 stitches. So for round 7, you're going to do 30 single crochets around one band in each chain. And I have 30 bands here. So I'm going to do round 6 with you. All you're going to do is just follow the layout. 3 single crochets followed by an increase. And you're going to repeat 3 single crochets followed by an increase. Always make sure that you're going on the next chain over and you don't go in the same chain where it's getting pulled. And I almost skipped a stitch, if you didn't notice. And you're just repeating this all the way to get to the stitch marker. So you should have 30 stitches, and for round 7 you're just doing 30 single crochets. Make sure you don't go where it's getting pulled, and you go in your first chain. One band in each chain all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. So you can pause the video and come back to me when you're done. For round 8, we're going to increase to 36 stitches. So we're going to do 4 single crochets followed by an increase. 4 single crochets followed by an increase, and you're going to repeat that 6 times. So at the end of round 8, you'll have 36 stitches. So I'm going to go in my first chain, or my first 4 chains with 1 band in each. Now the 5th chain is your increase, so you're just going to add your 2 bands one at a time. So if you just count every 5th chain you do your increase, it's a good way just to keep track of your stitches. And you're just going to continue 4 single crochets followed by an increase, and you're going to do this all the way to your stitch marker. So you should have 36 stitches right now. And you can remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, you're going to do 36 single crochets around. So you're going to start to see it growing up. Basically, you're just adding one band to each chain, one, 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 all the way around. Each time that you're done around, you could leave your stitch marker and add a new one, and then make sure that you have 7 of these on your body, and you'll know that you did enough rounds. So I am just going to start you off with round 9, and then you're just going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. So just starting in your first chain. Each pile I have 36 bands, so at the end of each round you should have 36 stitches. One band in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. And then you can just add a new stitch marker. Unless you have your bands organized like this, but I would recommend just leaving your stitch markers on in case somebody, I don't know, comes to your door. You're going to lose track. So you're just going around all the way around. So I think that you could pause the video and you're going to come back to me when you're done all these rounds. For round 16, well, I have 16 and 17 here, and I'm changing to the purple color. For round 16, I'm going to do 36 single crochets, and I'm just going to be grabbing the inside loops only. So the first little one, don't go through the whole chain, you're just grabbing the first one all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. You're going to start off with a slip stitch because you are changing color. So I have 10, 10, 10, and 6. So I have 36 bands here. So you should be doing 36 single crochets, grabbing the inside loops only. For round 17, you're just doing 36 single crochets, and you'll be going through the whole chain for round 17. So I'm going to start round 16, grabbing my first inside loop only, starting with a slip stitch, just so we have a nice even round when we're done, only when we change colors. Grabbing the next inside loop all the way until you get to your stitch marker. Just the inside loops only. The first little loop. Take your time and don't rush. You also don't want to pull the bands. You want to be very gentle on this round because you just want it to not pull anything. All the way. I'm going to start you off on round 17, and then you're just going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. Throughout this whole body, every time you do a slip, change the color, you want to make sure that you do a slip stitch. If you don't, it kind of just, it doesn't meet up when you're done. You're going to see like a really nice effect here. That's what you should have by grabbing the inside loops only. If you were doing the outside loops, you'd get a different effect. Now we're going to do, like when we finish this body, we are going to go back to this round. So you could leave your stitch marker on. It will be clear to see, but I will refer to going back to round 16. And we will be grabbing the stitches in this area. So if you'd like, you could leave your stitch marker on and add a new one. It's up to you. I don't think it's necessary, but I just thought I would put it out there. I will be removing and adding it to the band that's around my hook. And to start you off with round 17, you're just doing 36 single crochets. Now, you make sure when you are changing color, you don't ever go in your little slip knot. You want to go in the chain. And I emphasize that so much in all my videos, but don't go in the slip knot. Go in the chain. And you're just going to bring one band through each chain all the way until you get to your stitch marker. So you could pause the video, continue, and come back to me when you're done. For round 18, I'm going to change to blue color, and I'm going to do 4 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'll be using Jess Davies' technique for the invisible decrease. It will give it a different kind of shape. Each decrease is different, so I kind of recommend using the invisible decrease method. So again, it's 4 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm adding an extra band, and we're going to repeat this pattern 6 times. At the end of round 18, you'll have 30 stitches. So for round 19, I'll be switching back to purple, and we're going to do 30 single crochets. So I'm going to take this one slowly in case you aren't familiar. I'm going to be changing color, so I'll be starting with a slip stitch. I'm going to go in my first chain, bring my first band through, all the loops that are on my hook, grabbing the end and sliding. So it is a form of a single crochet. You're just changing color so it's nice and neat. The next chain, single crochet. 2 more times. So I've just done 4 single crochets. Now the invisible decrease is a slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, and you want to leave the bands on your hook. So I'm going to go to the next stitch here, slip stitch. So it's kind of like a single crochet, but you would slide under the first. So you want to leave it on your hook and repeat that in the next stitch over. Slip stitch. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then you'll slide. You're going to repeat the pattern, 4 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So slip stitch in the next 2 stitches and leave them on your hook. Once you have 3 loops, then you slide and you just stitch 2 stitches together. You're going to continue this pattern all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. So you can follow the layout. And is my decrease. just want to point out that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have 6 bands here. 5 sections. My last 2 stitches will be stitched together. Three loops and slide. So right now you have 30 stitches, and you're going to start with round 19 and changing color. Don't start in your slip knot, start in your first chain. And you're just doing 30 single crochets around, changing color, so through all the loops, and do a slip stitch. And then all the way around with 1 band in each chain. So you could kindly pause the video and come back to me when you're done. I have rounds 20 and 21 here. I'm going to be using purple for round 20 and blue for round 21. For round 20, I'm going to decrease to 24 stitches. I'm going to do 3 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm just going to add an extra band. 3 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease, and you're going to repeat this pattern 6 times. So you'll have 24 stitches when you're done. For round 21, changing to the blue, starting with a slip stitch, you'll do 24 single crochets, 1 band in each chain. So I'm going to start 3 single crochets, 1 band in the first 3 chains. Don't start in your slip knot. Now your invisible decrease, slip stitch in the next 2 chains. Three loops and slide, and repeat 1, 1, 1, invisible decrease. Slip stitch, three loops and slide. You want to continue the pattern all the way till you get to your stitch marker. So you should have 24 stitches. You can remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and change color. So 24 single crochets. Don't go where it's getting pulled. Start off with a slip stitch and go through all the loops that are on your hook. Now just continue around one band in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. At the end of this round, you should still have 24 stitches. So you want to pause the video, continue, and come back to me when you're done. For rounds 22 and 23, I'm using the purple color. For rounds 22, I'm going to decrease to 18 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm just adding an extra band. 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. And I'm going to repeat this pattern 6 times. So you'll have 18 stitches when you're done. Round 23, you're going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. So let's start off changing color. Don't go in your slip knot, go in your chain, and bring your first band through all the loops that were on your hook. I'm going to do another single crochet. Now an invisible decrease. Three loops and slide. You're going to repeat 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. Three loops and slide. You want to continue following the layout until you get to your stitch marker. You have, at the end of round 22, you have 18 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and begin round 23. Don't go in your slip knot, go in your chain. One band in each until you get to your stitch marker. So I have 18 bands here. You should have 18 stitches when you're done. You want to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. Now we're going to attach the eyes. Mine aren't in yet. I just want to show the placement if you're using the safety eyes or if you're using bands. These were just different kinds of options. You can even try using buttons. To find the placement, which I'm going to get to this in a second, to find your placement, you want to secure your stitch marker and have it at the back. So you want to remove your hook. You're going to place the eyes 5 stitches up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my eye is in the 5th. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they're about 6 stitches apart, counting the eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's going to be our placement where we're going to place the eyes. So if you don't have the safety eyes and you want to try with the bands, you can use a single band. I went through 2 of the stitches, so you can see that I skipped 1 and went through the other. How we would do the melts for any of the figures, and I secured it with a slip knot using a skin color band. Now you may have to stretch the band a bit so it doesn't pull at the eyes if you want to make it kind of like a sleepy bunny. If you want to do this, all I did was take 2 rubber bands and wrap it around at the same time 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I slid this onto a single black band. So pinch and squeeze and slide. And again, I skipped a hole. So I went through one, skip, and out the other. And just bringing the eye band through. And then I did a slip knot with the egg color to tie it closed. So I just tied it. Now I just put two eyes in the same hole, so give me a sec, just to show you, and I brought the band through. So I'm going to secure these and remove all those. Now you're going to grab some stuffing, still with your stitch marker secured. You want to grab some stuffing and fill. Be generous. You just don't want, I didn't even remove these. You just don't want to have your stuffing coming through the actual bands. Like, you don't want to see it. And I do always love to overstuff. Never purposely. I can't control myself. You want to have it all the way around. If I push it through, I'm going to feel that there's still some empty space. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. You can always remove after with your hook and then just kind of push the excess back in with a pencil. Now, if on the back where your stitch marker is, you may or may not have your stitches kind of pulled in from changing color. If that's happening to you, all you want to do is release tension by grabbing the little knots that you have and just kind of releasing some of the tension so you don't have it kind of sunk in or open spaces. And I think that's enough stuffing for now. For round 24, we're going to decrease to 12 stitches. So I'm going to do a single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. A single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. And I'm going to repeat this pattern 6 times. So we're going to have 12 stitches when we're done this round. So I'm using the purple color. I'm going to put my stitch marker or the band back on my hook. And I'm just going to do a single crochet, not where it's getting pulled. Now my invisible decrease, not mine, our invisible decrease, slip stitch, slip stitch, 3 loops and slide. Repeat, single crochet, invisible decrease. And repeat, continue this all the way until you get to your stitch marker. I did not do that right. I'm just going to remove and put that back. Sorry if I confused you. Single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. And repeat. single crochet, invisible decrease. And one more time. I have 3 sections, 3 bands. So you should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 25, we're going to do a single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. Single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. I'm adding an extra band. We're only going to repeat this 4 times. At the end of round 25, you're going to have 8 stitches. So I'm going to go in my first stitch, not where it's getting pulled, and single crochet. Now an invisible decrease. And repeat, single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. You want to repeat 2 more times. I forgot a side. Three loops and slide. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 26, our last round for the body, I'm going to do 4 invisible decreases. So I'm just going to add an extra band. Your last band, you're going to tie it off with a slip knot to close it. So in the first 2 stitches, we're going to do a slip stitch, leave it on your hook, slip stitch, 3 loops inside, and you're just repeating until you get to the stitch marker. And then we're just going to do this one more time, slip stitch. And the last band, all you're going to do is close this off, bringing your last band through all the loops and do a slip knot. And then you can remove your stitch marker. Move your stuffing around, and don't worry with this area. We are going to be attaching the legs.